So you're going to hear from a couple of people who stood in your shoes as coaches or as classroom teachers and got this up and running in their schools. Okay, first up is New Hampshire is in the house. We are going to hear from Dr. Heidi Zollman. If you can share your experience with taking this on.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Laud. I am in my doctorate, so hopefully I will have that soon. So I can't wait to be called Dr. Heidi Zollman. Nice to see you all. I know many of you, and it's exciting to see your names. We trained our teachers in Rochester K through 12. I'm looking back to the years, it was 2016, 17. I'm a letters trainer, a national letters trainer, so I wanted to dig deeper into evidence-based writing practices. So I was able to think about SRSD, met Dr. Laud. We connected right away and started talking about evidence-based practices. We brought Leslie to our school and trained K to 12 teachers. They were so excited. They implemented right away. We started to see gains. We started to see SEL gains. I would hear about kids, with self-talk in math class and science and social studies. It was amazing. And what a nice byproduct then to see our data rise. So that was, not the first and foremost reason that we did this, but what an amazing byproduct to see our scores raise on state tests. One of our schools, the Nancy Loud School, which is now closed, they were a small school with a high, free and reduced population. They were able to raise their scores into the 90% for DIBELS, their state testing, NEWA. So it was amazing to see. And then they were a Title I distinguished school. So they were recognized at a national conference. Amazing work. So when I asked the principal, what happened? What did you all do here? What did they say? It was SRSD, Heidi. SRSD is everything. So I kept hearing that SRSD is everything. So when we think about that, when we think about self-talk in our brain and something that's hard and evidence-based practices, it works. So again, I'm in New Hampshire, and I'm excited to be here for a little bit with you today. And I'm open for any questions, but Leslie, feel free to share my contact information, or I can put it in the chat as well. But it works, and just trust the process. And teachers were excited about it too. So that's something that was great for me working as a curriculum director. I'm in a new role at a smaller school here in New Hampshire, and hoping to bring these evidence-based practices to my teachers here.
Thank you.
So I am here for questions. If we can go around with other stories, and then feel free to reach out to me.
So New Hampshire, you have a resource. Write to info@thinksrsd.com. If we can have a couple of schools to come together, we may be able to hold a short meeting where you can ask specific questions. All right, thank you, Heidi. Next up is another New Hampshireite, Heather Wood. There you are. If you can just share briefly any tips, what do you wish you'd known when you were starting, and what advice do you have for people who are starting?
Good morning. I'm a reading specialist in a small K-6 elementary school and a larger middle high school. And by no means am I an expert in Think SRSD. I'm learning right alongside my colleagues and my students. But Think SRSD provides everything you need to launch this instructional strategy. And so if I have one piece of advice, it's just get started. Dr. Loud suggested that I do that. I had a number of teachers sign up for the online course, but some teachers weren't too sure. And she said, just go into the classroom and teach those launch lessons. And I did that last spring. There were only 2 months left in the school year, kind of a funky time to get started. But I just went in, I collected the pre-assessment, taught the power and tide and the gist statements, and then did the color coding of an exemplar. And just like that, we were rolling with power cycles. And it really is an easy lift, which was great. And I think I really saw that the students appreciated the clear expectations. They knew what was expected of them, and they knew how to get there, or if they didn't get there, they knew they weren't there yet, and they owned it and felt okay about that. And I really saw their confidence grow, and it was really fun to see some new 7th graders this year who had done that last year. And just in yesterday, the second day of school, I gave them a prompt and they were pulling out their tools and using them after just 2 months last year. So that was exciting to see. And then this summer, I had an opportunity to lead a professional development 2 days in the summer, just introducing teachers to the strategies and getting them ready to launch that in their classroom. And then another day to actually do some specific planning and plan out some prompts and create some exemplars. And that was really fun. And I saw a transformation there of the depth of the prompts that teachers were asking students to respond to. They went from, tell about your experience to explain why. And that's where I see there was this aha moment of the power that this strategy can have. And teachers saw that it really might be a driving force behind not only writing, but also reading comprehension and content knowledge. So in science and social studies, and that's when the enthusiasm really took off. And so I think it's catching already. As one of our principals said, we're looking for the FOMO to take over, right? Where other teachers get on the train as well. And so I think there's lots of potential. And my goal this year is just to kind of nurture that and maintain that momentum. I'm so excited to see what it brings.
The FOMO is real. And I'm speaking to you who may be classroom teachers or interventionists, and you're nervous. How will I get my school going? Just have that excitement. Have it in your classroom. Have it in one more classroom. But the FOMO is real. The teachers will begin to hear. I know in lacrosse, the FOMO was there, and the teachers who knew Megan Burke wanted to figure out what was happening there. Thank you so much, Heather. That really inspires me, even that this is doable. On to our next speaker. We have a speaker from Wisconsin who ordered the e-learning for her and I think a person or another. And then I didn't hear. And then we checked in the spring and she ordered books. And then I heard her entire school was up and running. And I didn't know that. And I could not have been more excited because I had never seen a school just jump on. I feel like we're getting to that 10th monkey scenario where there's enough out there about science of writing, where there's enough out there about explicit instruction that this is such an easier. Back in the day, 20 years ago, when it was all Calkins, it was an uphill climb. And I hit speed bumps at every single step I tried to take to bring explicit instruction into classrooms. And now I think our nation's in a different place and we can do this. Katie, would you like to share briefly your experience and then what tips you have for people who are getting started?
I am from a small title school in Wisconsin, central Wisconsin, and a couple of teachers and I kind of dabbled in SRSD early on in the year last year. And then about mid-year, we decided that we were going to just do it whole school. So I planned 5 different PDs just during our PLCs. They're an hour each. And it was just a little piece. We started with the pre-assessment, and then they had, a couple of weeks to do the pre-assessment. And then 2 weeks later, we had our next PLC. I'd give them the next little bit of information. They'd have another 2 weeks to implement that little bit and so on. And we had, 5 sessions. And I think what was really helpful was having just little pieces at a time and then time to try it. Little piece at a time and then time to try it. So everybody was up and running right before state testing last year. A lot of teachers said that their kids were using Tide while they were working on their state assessment. We don't have those scores all back yet, but we're waiting to hear how they did. And then this year, yesterday actually, I ran a professional development just to onboard new teachers and to kind of keep teachers who already knew about it from last year, keep them going. So it was kind of a plan your own adventure. I had a slideshow with all of the information that we learned last year for the new teachers. And then little things that we didn't get to last year for the teachers who wanted to learn a little bit more this year. So hopefully we're all going to be up and running again next week.
Thank you, Katie. So inspiring to hear how you did that. And I thought it was faculty meetings. PLCs are even more attainable. And Erin, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Erin Wilson, but I saw you grinning through the whole thing and then nodding vigorously. I had thought that teachers needed to go through the whole full 2-day PD. And then Erin was there like, no, we're going to do little bites because that's what I can get my teachers to do. We're going to do just and Tide to begin. And then we're going to, try a power cycle. And she broke it up. And I was a little nervous, but I had a lot of confidence in Erin because she's amazing. And sure enough, within a couple of months, her school was up and running. Erin, anything you'd want to add about how you found pockets of time? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I had not asked you to speak, but if you have anything encouraging to people who are as terrified as you were last fall.
Yeah, I basically just was really proactive with my director of teacher and learning, who designates all of the professional development throughout the year. And we were able to secure 7 1-hour slots throughout the year. So I devoted an hour to each strategy, which was really helpful. And we started piloting the approach last year in a 5th grade classroom and a 7th grade classroom. And then by January, we were in 4th through 8th grade, which was really, really exciting. And the teachers, for context, I work at a school in the Bay Area, California, for kids with language-based learning differences. So our teachers were really grasping at straws for a direct and explicit approach to teaching writing. So this has been really powerful and incredibly exciting for us.
And it's 5:30 in the morning where Erin is.
That's why I'm in bed.
She is a diehard, never misses a meeting. All right, thank you so much. A quick word from a CKLA school. How many of you use CKLA? Can I see thumbs up? All right, we have a CKLA success. Is Jessica here? Jessica Joyce, if you want to unmute.
I'm here. Good morning,
Yay,
everyone.
good morning, Jessica. Okay, Jessica's working in a larger urban district, 50 schools, all the challenges that you get, and using CKLA. And Joyce, what do you wish you had known? What do you wish I had told you? And what tips do you have for people getting started?
I don't know. I just think I want to get in your brain, Leslie, at all times of the day, especially during the teaching day. So I don't know if I feel like you were great. That's the great thing about SRSD, is that any type of question, comment, concern, you can literally message them at any point and you'll get a phone call and you'll be able to get some answers and get running right away. So some tips.
Yeah, be careful with that one. Kate emailed me yesterday and said we need to talk, picked up the phone. There I am. So let me know when you want to talk if you email me, because I get very excited about all this.
Yes. So I think Heather said this, but you really need to jump in with 2 feet. So our principal is fantastic, and she really took this on board, and we all were on board. So one of the tips that I have is that with your administration, your first meeting of the year, we had 3 main goals, writing being one of them. And this program, this system is how we launched it. I teach 6th grade. I taught it for a long time, and I had the opportunity to work closely with our coach to then launch it within the K through 6 school classrooms here at Tatnick. So that's kind of a unique opportunity that some schools may not have, where you have 2 people that have done the training and then can go launch it within the classrooms. But it was super effective. So we would each go into the classroom and we would do the first 6 lessons and model it for the teacher and for the students, so then they could run with it after that. So that was super effective. Another thing that we did, tip for launching and then consistency, is that we embedded it in everything that we did. So our PLCs, our writing blocks, we had a designated 45-minute writing block every single day, no exceptions. Our RTI blocks even had SRSD running all through them. So we literally, when you would walk into any classroom, no matter the content, you could see pieces of SRSD in everything that we were doing. And to, stand the test, we had an 8 to 14% increase across grade levels, our point increase. So it works.
8 to 14
8 to 14
on which
across.
test?
This was MCAS for the essay, for essay development. Yeah, we can't wait to chat with you guys.
If anyone, Meg Shelby can search for Laud Hansford, HANSFORD cohort. We have a new study that was just put out this summer. It's been accepted to be under review at SSR, which is a really wonderful journal, Scientific Studies of Reading. And a statistician analyzed our average gains. And our average gains on the state posted, they went to all the state websites, pulled down the ELA from the year before and the year after for all the schools that have worked with us, 97 schools, and our average gain is 7.3. So Joyce, you kind of blew that out of the water. Wow. Very exciting. And Joyce had like a hybrid course where she only had 3 hours, like an hour and a half here. She did not have the full 2 days. And Katie had no course. Katie did this entirely from the e-learning. So I want to hearten you. If you've had a course, you may feel like this was a lot of rich information, but you are still ahead of the game because people are getting this up and running. Okay, next up and our last speaker is Stephanie Joyce from Amherst, Massachusetts.
Good morning. Thank you. So we piloted Think SRSD in our K2 classrooms last year in Amherst. And I have maybe 4 little guiding principles and outgrowths of our practices. First, I would say, like others have said, trust the SRSD approaches and practices. And our mantra was hold your feet to the fire, but give yourselves grace. Get going, use it daily. Many teachers capitalize on that by saying, I'm new at this too. I'm learning this too. We're going to learn this together. That was powerful for children, especially when they got to score teachers' writing and become real critics of the. Secondly, is believe in the power of teacher modeling. So again, we had a mantra of model, model, model. And we knew from our PD and our training with Leslie and colleagues that it would take about 8 to 10 weeks of power cycles beginning this to really see perhaps a readiness in children for us to release the writing to them in a more full-scale way. So we did lots and lots of modeling of just statements paired with tide planners. We dug right into modeling of the POW cycles in K2. If we didn't finish a POW cycle 1 week, we just picked up with a new POW cycle the next Monday, and we kept going until we passed that learning curve, and then we were completing POW cycles each week. The breakthrough by October was really amazing. And so from my teachers, it's like, believe in that modeling, it really works. Now, teachers were modeling, some children were drawing pictures in their tide planners, some children were putting letters, some children were writing, but everybody was engaged in the oral language of discussing what could go into those planners and how to use those tools. Third, we would say never underestimate your students. We were nervous, obviously, and we found that their capabilities, probably that came again from a lot of that modeling, were really powerful. In fact, when one school had their annual donut day last fall in October, the second grade teachers had to announce to the children that writing was going to get cut short that day because they were going outside for donuts. The children literally booed. They did not want to stop writing. And so they stayed with writing that day, and they had donuts later in the day. And I think the fourth thing is just, as others have mentioned, believe in that power of the self-regulation strategies, how those can carry through the day, but again, can build confidence in our students in how they can grow and develop as writers. One of the places we saw this to be very powerful was in the way that students took on the scoring of their own writing, the understanding of how they could critique themselves, how they could critique other writing, again, I mentioned how they enjoyed doing that for their teachers writing, and how they could set goals for themselves, because they felt that they could say, I have the tools to do this. I can go back to my tide planner and see what I left out, that kind of thing. Leslie mentioned to us one time to say to the, just try it, say to the class, the copier was broken today. I couldn't copy your tide planners for you. And so we did it. We did it one day. And it was astounding, from our kindergartners to our second graders. By the end of October, early November, they could create their own tide planners. And we're like, whoa. So grow from that. Excited to say that we're using SRSD. We're implementing K6 this year in our Amherst schools. Thanks.